So to start off, when I was born 3.5 months premature. I was 2 pounds, 12 ounces, so I was a very small baby. And then I was in an incubator for 6 months of my life, where I didn't get to feel like a motherly touch or anything like that. I was just in an incubator. I luckily pulled through, but I had a lot of issues as a baby and as a young child. And my mom, who was taking care of me at the time, did her best up until about 11 months, and then she was murdered by my father. My father had a lot of issues. He had a lot of issues with substances, a lot of issues with his mental health, legal problems, and he murdered my mother. And then he ended up unaliving himself in a jail cell a couple months afterwards. My brother and I were then adopted into the foster care system, and because of the trauma that we had went through, my brother was 2.5, I was 11 months. Not a lot of people wanted us. My brother had a lot of anger issues, a lot of trauma issues, and I had a lot of medical issues. So eventually I was adopted into my mom's side of the family by her sister, or my aunt and uncle. They already had 3 kids of their own, my brothers and sisters / cousins, as I like to say. And, I grew up a fairly normal life. I didn't have a lot of friends. I maybe had like 2 friends growing up in the country, up in Maryland. And then around 12, I moved to Florida. When I moved to Florida, my entire life changed. I was not used to being around as many people as there are in Florida, and I was very much a follower of my brother. So, he got into a lot of trouble with the law, and I remember at 14, we robbed our first house together. It was our neighbor's house. Luckily, all these were not so violent crimes. Nobody was there. It was a vacation home. We just stole, I think, cigars. But that was just the beginning of a very long story. See, also at 14, I entered 9th grade and overdosed on my 3rd day in high school, where they then took me out of the high school and put me into a rehab for 4.5 months, only to be unsuccessfully discharged because I was being bullied. And then from 14, 15, I was stealing cars. I was just following the bad crowd, getting into all sorts of trouble. And then at 16, I was put into a 6.5-month behavioral rehab center, while my brother was in a long-term 1.5-year behavioral center at the same time. So we actually got out on the same date, and we successfully completed those. And then at 17, my aunt basically had decided to divorce my uncle and remarry to my stepdad, who shot me. That was quite some time ago, but basically I was coming in through the house one late night. I was drunk, he was drunk, and he thought I was an intruder and shot me. There's a story time for that on my account. So after that, my life kind of really changed. That was very traumatic. I had to relearn how to use my arm and my hand. And keep in mind, I did not have a loving adoptive mother. She was, she never hugged or kissed me growing up. It just wasn't like that. So she was just, it's your fault that you did this. And, it was 50-50, most definitely, because my stepdad was high and also under the influence, and he had a very big issue with it. And that issue really showcased when I was 20 years old. I woke up one day, turned on the news, and saw his name plastered on the news, and it was because he got drunk like he liked to do and drove into the back of a car, killing a father and a son. And then he went immediately to jail and died 3 months after from cancer in jail. He was a good man, but he had a lot of demons. And so my aunt remarried to another guy who turned out to be even worse. He was actually my stepdad's cellmate, and he was flirting with my mother through the jail video visitation while my stepdad was actively in there. And then got out and let my stepdad die in there and got with this guy, and he has been pretty much the worst human being I've ever met. So after that, I moved out, and, at 21, I was, drinking a lot, and I got my own DUI. Luckily, no crash, nothing happened. It was just simply I was going through a McDonald's drive-thru, and they happened to hear in my voice that I was drunk. So I went the next 3 years without a car, and I biked everywhere. Because I live in Florida, you need really expensive insurance after you get your DUI for a certain amount of time, so that's what I did. And I enrolled in school, I started doing things for myself. I got my college degree in tourism and hospitality management. And I just was working dead-end jobs. I probably worked 40 plus jobs in my life through restaurants and just dead-end jobs. And, I had a couple girlfriends, and I had a couple, nice short relationships, like a year long, 2.5 years. But, that's kind of the end of my story so far. I'm sober from alcohol. I'm 2 days sober, and I continue to stay sober. It is hard. I struggle a lot mentally. I do not get in trouble with the law. It's been 7 years now. And I really just focus on building my account and building my career and building a solid foundation for myself and for my life and for the people that I want in my life. But this is just kind of my story put out there, because I realized I hadn't put out all of my story yet. And I hope that a little bit of my struggles can show somebody out there that no matter what you're going through in life, things do get better. They've gotten a lot better for me. And just don't give up hope. I know this is a long video, but if you watch till the end, much love to every one of you out there. Seriously.